Hey everyone, it's James Lambert, the motivational coach and speaker. I went from knockouts to knowledge and from headlocks to hugs. I still embrace people, just now in a more positive way. So, I hope you're all well out there and life's going good. In the UK, it's the Easter weekend, the long weekend. The clocks, I think, are going forward. I think that's right tonight. I always get it mixed up. And yeah, life is good. Life is good. In this video, what I wanted to talk about was fear. And when I was growing up, certainly I noticed there was a trend. I think I'm right in saying it was the early 90s. And it started off as a brand. I believe it was a clothing company, I think, called No Fear. And they had quite a distinctive, I think it was like two slitted eyes, somewhat aggressive. But I noticed that there was a trend as well amongst young men, particularly when I was growing up in London, southeast London, travelling around different boroughs. There was that sort of machismo, no fear, and people sometimes had it tattooed on them. And even though I certainly didn't always act in the most intelligent manner, even internally I was thinking, that's a nonsense. Because what I noticed in life was that indeed those that were banging on about having no fear were indeed the most fearful of all. Obviously, as I've grown up and delved into modern psychology and done studying, read a lot on this subject, that actually is quite true. That it is precisely because the lack of self-esteem and lack of faith in themselves, they're fearful men and women, that they cover that with bravado and with overt signs of aggression. So, ironically, as I found in my own life, the more confident I've become, the less need I've had to show off in a multitude of ways, interestingly. So, but particularly dealing with this thing about no fear, I actually think, and found in my own life, it was more prudent to look at it. You see, so much in the West we shun. We're fearful, exactly that again, we're fearful of examining and looking at what scares us. And fear scares us, I get it. I've been fearful for most of my life. Yes, I covered it with aggression and being violent, but I chose to look at it. And interestingly enough, when I was brave enough to confront fear, no, it didn't always go away immediately, but I got to understand it. And this is what's so important. So many people out there in today's climate, we've recently had the tragedy in Brussels, but it's an excuse to be fearful, or that creates fear in us, so we can be racist, or people are aggressive to others. And it's all projection, all fear. And instead of dealing with that fear of alienation or distrust or one's mortality, we don't like to think about that. And it's the same with, we're even fearful to look at, just to feel a bit of pain, for goodness sake. So the first hint of a headache, we run to the medicine cupboard and just dull our pain. And I am telling you, that pain is, if you like, it's a red light at the traffic sign. It's a warning sign. And you ignoring it, or even if you're not ignoring it, you dulling it down with prescription drugs, or overeating, or pornography, or drugs, or drinking. The list goes on, but you're trying to null that pain, that fear. And I say, be brave, look into it. Because the irony is, when you begin to expose fear for the lie that it is, or at least that it shouldn't be ruling and ruining your life, you'll find you'll be a lot more helpful. So this thing about no fear, I saw that the most fearful people were the ones that were trying to act like they were the least fearful. Saw all the time on the door, saw it on the streets, saw it all the time. So I'm saying, embrace your fear. If you fear, we all fear change. We're creatures of habits, but let that be the fuel to mobilize you, not terrify you into non-action. I want you to, it's energy. How you use the energy is up to you. You can let it paralyze you, or you can let it propel you forward and be passionate about your goals. So I want you to reframe it. Choose to see fear as at not being the red light. Stop. See it as the green light for go. Most of the times in my life, when I've said yes to fear, when I've embraced it, when I've got the call to do a talk, been fearful but done it anyway, all of the joy, everything I've been looking for has been on the other end of fear. So when you get that call, or you're worried about doing that presentation, or you're worried about moving home, or going asking that girl or someone on a date, do it. Do it precisely because you feel the fear. Don't feel the fear and stop. Feel the fear and run with it. Let it fuel your every action. So no more this no fear. Don't pretend